Recall the Pythagorean theorem of right triangles. The Pythagorean theorem says that if A and B are the lengths of the legs of a right triangle and C is the length of the hypotenuse, then A squared plus B squared equals C squared, or the sum of the squares of the legs equals the square of the hypotenuse, which is directly across from the 90-degree angle. So if we wanted to find the length of an unknown leg of a right triangle, we could actually find any side because of this relationship. So the right angle is there. That means that this is the hypotenuse. And the other two sides are just legs. So we can use the Pythagorean theorem to relate these sides together. So this side squared plus this side squared equals the hypotenuse squared. So x squared plus 6 squared equals 9 squared. And then the important one is the hypotenuse, because the other two are just legs, and the order of those doesn't matter, but the hypotenuse must be on one side of the equal sign by itself. So let's simplify these squares. X squared plus 36 equals 81. And then we're going to do something a little different. I'm going to get the numbers on the same side, so I'm going to subtract 36 from both sides, so that x squared equals 45. And then I want to get x by itself. So we're going to use something that will go into more detail in the next chapter. But for now, we can use the square root. But we have to do that to both sides. So that x is the square root of 45. And we know this has to be positive only, so that's good. But then we can simplify that radical. So 45 is 9 times 5. So we do have a square root of 9, which is 3. And the 5 is stuck inside. So that means that this side of the triangle is going to be 3 root 5 centimeters. Then we have a furniture upholsterer who wants to cut a strip of fabric that is 45 inches by 45 inches. So the strip must be cut on the bias of the fabric that is across this way. What is the longest strip that can be cut? Give an exact answer and also a 2 decimal approximation. So this is what we need to find: the strip of bias, which is the diagonal cut across the fabric. And that happens to be the hypotenuse this time. So that's what we're going to be looking for. We're going to use that relationship, the Pythagorean theorem, that the side squared plus the side squared equals the hypotenuse squared. So we've got side 45 and 45. Those are the two leg sides, and the hypotenuse is unknown. So that equation relates the known to the unknown. So 45 squared is 2025 plus another equals x squared. So 2 of these, if we add those together, that's 4,050. And again, what we want to find is in a square. So if we square root that, that leaves just the radicand. And the square root of 4,050, I don't know. It's not a whole number, so I'm going to break this down. Let's break 4050 down. It ends in a 0, so it's divisible by 5. That'll go in 810. And then 810 divides by 5. That's 162, which is even, so it divides by 2 times 81. And I know 81 is 9 times 9. Which isn't prime, but I'm looking for squares, so I'm going to leave it as 9 times 9 times 5 times 5 times 2. Okay, that's everything. So the square root of 9 times 9 is 9, and the square root of 5 times 5 is 5, and then the 2 is stuck inside, so that'll be 45 root 2 for x, which is the hypotenuse here, so that's 45 root 2 inches. That's the exact answer. But then we also want a 2 decimal approximation, so let's put that in the calculator. And our approximation, so approximately 63.6396. How many decimal places do we need? 2. So if I go to the right of that number is 5 or higher, so we're going to round up to 63.64 inches. That's our approximation.